Palpation on an actual patient, we're going to take the information we just learned from the model, finding Obturator Internus, and we're going to put it to practical use. So here's that same model. So here's that front view. So here's that pelvis with pubic arch, and we've got ASIS on either side. So here the model is going to be side-lying, and we've got those ischial tuberosities. There's the right ASIS right up and through here. So here I have put in the pelvic floor muscles so that you can appreciate how close those pelvic floor muscles are right up to where that obturator internus, and how they're really combined into one unit. So that's the connection that you're kind of being worked on. So let's take this out. So we've got our patient in side lying. We're going to palpate onto ischial tuberosity, and that's familiar to a lot of orthopedics when you're thinking of those high hamstrings, those things that you're coming in for glutes, or if you're sort of getting into quadratus femoris, that kind of stuff like that. So you're getting right into that sit bone right in through there. We're going to be coming in at an angle right up into that obturator internus. So we're using a blade sort of hand with a straight finger coming up into that obturator internus, and then sinking in so that we find the muscle. Then we'll muscle test for it, and then we'll actually show a little bit of a differentiation from that, and you'll actually be able to appreciate pelvic floor muscle with that also. All right, so we've got our actual patient, and this is kind of a new area for them, so you really want to make sure that they're comfortable with what you're going to be doing. So I always tell people that I'm going to tell you where I'm going before I go there, so there's no surprises on what's going on. So for ischial tuberosity, or that sit bone, I'm going to use the flat of my hand. So I'm not going to start by poking in through things. I'm going to start with the flat of my hand so that I can come in here with a really broad area and push. It's a little bit more comfortable for them, and I can find that ischial tuberosity, so I can find that little bony prominence. All right, so once I find that, I'm going to pull glute max out of the way just a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to come in down at an angle. So I'm going to drop my elbow, and I'm going to let my finger just sort of sink in. And you've got to give it a little bit of time, because they're going to be a little bit nervous about this. They might be gripping. They might not be really understanding what's going on. So slowly it's going to sink up and into, and we're going to see it. And I'm going to say, does that feel tender? Is there a trigger point in there? Does that feel sore or sharp or anything like that? Usually I ask them, other than weird, what does it feel like? And they'll say, yeah, that feels like a trigger point. Now, the hip is at a 90-degree angle, so we're going to have her abduct. So I want you to lift your thigh up a little bit, and then I can really feel that obturator kick in, so I know I've got that obturator internus right in through there. Then in order, just so we talked about how that pelvic floor is right next to it. So that pelvic floor is sort of underneath if you looked at it from the model. So I'm just going to lift my elbow up. So now my finger is oriented in a little bit more parallel to the table. And for pelvic floor, so now I'm going to be just on the edge of that pelvic floor. So I'm going to say, can you do a cough? So go ahead and cough. And on that cough, you're going to feel that pelvic floor push down, because that's going to be that intra-abdominal pressure pushing down on that pelvic floor.